Welcome back, shop rats. Today we are continuing on in our series on how to paint a truck for under 500 bucks. Can we do it? Well, we hope so. Let's watch the show intro. We'll see you in just a few seconds. I'm Mike. And
this is My Cars Shop.
As you can tell, this is the first video in this series that the truck is actually here. And you've seen it in the background on some of the other series that we're doing, but we got it here and we need to really get hammering on this thing because I need to get this thing out of here within a matter of a month or three. Now there's a lot to look at and so forth, so we'll take you around and kind of do a walk around, but I got to take a few minutes off camera and just reorganize. So I've been working in the shop here, been finally getting my little welding area set up, and that's getting close, and I got a new light to hang up that I need to get done, and I'm trying to get just this part of the shop right now. It's ratcheted up a level, and then we're going to go back over to the engine building area and do the same thing. But I just don't have a ton of time to do things, and I have my snowblower in here because that's where we keep it for the winter, so it gets heated and thaws out and starts easy. And you know, it's that time of year, and that's the way it goes. The goal on this project was to, it's a quick slam bam. It's a work truck, it's not a show truck, so we're not looking to make everything perfectly flat and perfectly smooth. You've probably seen the other two episodes that we did on the doors. You kind of get the mentality of what this project is all about. The thing is in really good shape. There's no rust that we have to deal with, and that's outstanding. But I'm going to take you around and show you some of the stuff we're going to need to deal with to get this thing ready, and we'll share with you pretty much what I'm planning to tackle today, and we'll go from there. Let's take a look at exactly what we're dealing with here. We got some bare metal, got some glue from some tape, and some stuff from kicking around. But this fender is pretty close. Gonna have to block it down a little bit because there's some rust on that bare metal, get some etch primer. So that's probably where we're gonna start today. Then we go back here to the back of the cab. We got some mud here because there was a dent in the cab. There's a small dent there. We're not going to worry too much about stuff like this. I may take and hammer that just a little bit, but we'll get this straightened out here. That's a pretty big dent. I don't want to let that go. Other than that, this is all pretty good. Back of the cab is decent. Again, we've got a dent here. Curious why it has dents on both sides. It's like somebody went and picked it up, but they didn't. But this is all good in here. Rocker panels are good. Fender on that, again, same thing. There's a little bit of glue here because the guy that had it before had it stored outside and had a plastic taped over because the windshield's out. We're not going to pull the back glass out, but up there we've got a ton of duct tape to get it off, and I see I got coon mess again. My coons are back. It's going to be an all-out war. I think our grade assembly here is okay, so it may not be great, but it's good. We're not doing anything with the inner fenders or anything like that. It's just a work truck. We may or may not do something inside of here, but not right now. The main goal is to get this thing done, get this cab prepped, get the doors on this thing, and then get this part of it shot. So we can keep talking about it, or we could do it. So let's just shut up and do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it now.
I was just checking the date of manufacturers. Manufactured in 9 of 85, so pretty sure it's an 86, which is what I thought it was. But anyway, gotta wait for the compressor to pump up because I always let the compressor drain down 100% because when it's super cold out, my compressor's upstairs and it's not heated. It doesn't like to start. It's getting old. That compressor is oh my goodness, it's got to be 25 years old now, so it's been a good one. But anyway, once that pumps up, we're going to go ahead and start DAing this down a little bit. I'm feeling it over right now for imperfections. Everything looks good. There's a little dent right there, but hardly anything to worry about. Got to remember it's not a show truck. That's my biggest struggle on this project is I want to make it perfect, and that's not what we're about. That's going to look very respectable. Yeah, there's just a little. Let's do that while that's pumping up. Let's just peen this a little bit and get some of that wow out of there. Feels like it's actually might be a high spot, not a low spot. I finally got around to fixing the handle on this one that was broke. Yeah, it's actually a little bit of a low spot right there. So what I'm going to do is put a dolly behind here on the low spot, and then I'm going to tap it here while pushing on the backside, and we're just going to try to flatten that out just a little bit. It's called hammer off dolly. Here's the dolly I'm going to use. Okay, so I got my dolly against it, and now we're just going to hammer here. A little spot right there. Little teeny low spot right there, but I think with a little blocking, most of that's going to disappear, so I think we'll be okay. I got a little high spot right there yet. I think we put just a skosh of just a little of stuff in there, and it'll be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down with some prep sol and see if we can get some of this glue and stuff off of here before we start DAing. I don't want to use lacquer thinner if we don't have to. What the heck that is. May have to use some lacquer on that because I don't want to get grinding too hard with the DA and then create a low spot. Just get her cleaned up a little bit. I think we'll go ahead and take these lights out for 2 quick bolts. I think that'll be the best way to handle that. This truck's been kicking around a long time, so I probably wouldn't be putting primer. I wouldn't prime the whole truck if it was, well, for one thing, I didn't do this work. I don't know what's going on, so I'd like to seal it down with something. And we have no idea what contaminants may have been absorbed into this. So if I go over it with a good urethane, it'll seal all that stuff in there and won't cause a problem in our top coat. So at least that's my thinking. I'm going to get a little lacquer thinner and try that. If that doesn't work, we'll just try to sand that out. That came off all right, so I got to do a little up here now. I used some lacquer thinner, and then more there. Used some lacquer thinner, and then I ended up using a Scotch-Brite, but that got it off. So let's grab our lacquer thinner rag here and see if it takes this off. Mostly, yep, mostly. Good. Don't like rubbing lacquer thinner on too much because it can lift this primer, but I'm pretty comfortable because what I did here didn't lift it at all. So making sure we're getting all the zoots and glue off. And we're just going to do a paint break right here rather than going down in here. Again, this is a quick paint job. Make it look pretty. So you know, it's not a show car. We're not intending to a little something on there. When you're painting something, one thing that people fail to realize is it's enough time, you know, to get everything done on the outside. But when you have to start doing engine compartments and door jams and all that stuff, that's huge amounts of time. from the factory was defective. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if I can get you down here. Yeah, right there you can see it. It came with more than one run per can. I got 3 of them here and 1 here. I guess it's not worth going back and returning it, but it's disappointing. It's hard to get quality products these days. So I'm going to have to be looking for a different brand of paint that doesn't come mixed with so many runs in it. It's all good. I was putting it on a little heavy there because of that low spot that ran. And it's cold in here. It's only about 60 degrees, which is 55, which is a little too cool for this. But I got all the bare metal covered, which was the point. And I only did the white stuff just to cover it up so it looks better, because it makes me feel better. But we're going to hit that with a urethane-based 2K eventually. But let's see if we can see while we're still wet down here. Yeah, that's not bad. You can see there's a little wave in there. The body line is a little bit. So maybe today, I've got a little bit of 2K left from John's truck. So I may hit that with that so I can do an initial block and try to, maybe I'll put a little glaze in there and fill that up a little bit, because again, we're not trying to make a show truck, but for an extra 20 minutes worth of work, you know what I'm saying? It'd be worth at least trying to minimize that. We're not eliminating it. The problem I'm doing is I'm going over somebody else's body work, and this was done over factory paint. So, but it's not bad. It's going to be a white truck, so the majority of this isn't going to be that visible. But I just took some 180 and just real quick, just to see where we're at. And so you can see we got a low spot there, and so forth. From what I'm thinking is, I think the mud is a little high here, but it is definitely low there. It's nothing I can get on the back side to pound back out. And again, for the context of this job, if I was doing a show car, I would be grinding all of this back out of here, and I would be pulling that back out to make it flat. But for the context of this, we're going to sand this down good. I'm actually probably just going to use my airboard sander and hammer that out real quick and get it as flat as I can, and then see what we've got. So let me go grab that thing real quick, and we'll get after it. Pretty good. Got a little shaping to do. I got to put a little bit more mud in there. It's probably just a couple mil low. So you can see we got a tiny bit of a high spot, but there's definitely a dent in there. So we got to add a little fill to that. And while we're here, I'll go ahead and get this taken care of at the same time. So feels pretty good. I just hit that with some 36 grit, big rocks, just to get it flattened out and see what we're dealing with. And of course, we're just checking in on the fender to see how things look. Looks good. A little run is still wet there. Everything else is dry. That low spot there is almost gone just from primer. Of course, I haven't blocked it yet, and it will shrink because that's a lacquer-based product. But yeah, looks good. A couple of things while I'm just here mixing the Bondo. First of all, you've heard me say this before on the channel. Never use cardboard to mix your Bondo. So I'm doing what you should do and using cardboard. What I will do is I start making myself a Bondo palette by just leaving a layer of Bondo on this cardboard. I've got some around, but I can't find it, so I just thought I'd start making a new one. But the reason for that is because cardboard absorbs some of the high ends of the solvents in the Bondo, and it doesn't dry as well as it might. So we're doing it the right way. We're using the cardboard anyway. Very good. Good enough. All right, let's get this on there. Another thing I wanted to mention was, I don't know what kind of Bondo they used on this thing, but holy cadiners. That stuff was nasty smelling when I sanded it. Nice light coats. You don't want to get carried away. You're not trying to, frost a cake here or anything. But this didn't need much, so just going back and fixing my edges. All right, let's spread this out on our cardboard now, and we'll start making our Bondo palette is what we're trying to make here. There we go. We'll sand that out, of course, make it a little bit flatter. And the more layers you get on there, the stiffer this will get, the better it'll work, and it won't absorb It won't absorb stuff is what I'm saying. So probably don't need to do much more on that, but that's got to dry and then we'll sand it. Still drying here. It's going to take a while. You saw me hammer that. I got almost all of it out of there. It's just going to take one little touch of glaze right there to fix that little dinky spot. It came out beautiful. So while that's drying there, I'm going to go ahead and go down here now and get that bare metal cleaned up and see what the shape of all that is down there. Okay, got that roughed in now. Just did that by hand with some 80 grit. I think we'll get that to blend out okay. We'll see. I got to feather edge that with the DA and block it down a little in here. It's okay. Feels good all the way down. Down, 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 down. I was blocking this and found a dent here, so we're going to have to take care of that. There's a minor one there, but the box comes around there, so I'm not worried. But this won't take but a second to fix, so we might as well. Other than that, this corner looks good. So I have to look at the rocker panel, but I'm probably going to do the cheaters method on that if it's got anything on it, which I don't think it does. If it does, we'll just hit it with rocker guard and hide it all. Again, quick, get it done, get it done, get it out. This is about production. This is not about show job. Have I said that before? Have I mentioned that? Are you getting that? Are you hitting what I'm pitching? Just like that. So it looks good, pretty smooth. Got a little dimple there. That'll come out with the primer. I'm not worried about that. And okay, we're ready to go ahead and hit that stuff now with some etch prime. I also took some 80 grit, or actually some 36 grit, and went in here and cleaned up the rust that was in that spot. Once we get that sealed up, that should be good. So this side of the truck is almost ready to prime. Not the back, not the roof, but you know, this stuff. We got to do the door jamb yet, and that's not going to be a, all we're going to do is scuff that down and hit it with the paint. That's all that's going to be. Nothing fancy. Again, not a show truck. So you can see here now, you can see some bullseyeing from the Bondo in there and so forth, and that's fine because we got a spot up on the front fender we got to fix. I'll do the same thing here. All I'm going to do is hit that with some high build 2K, let that dry, block it once, it'll be all gone. I know that primer is not a filler. I get that, but again, in the context of this, then get it out of here, get it done. So it'll fill fine, it'll feather out fine, and it will look outstanding. So I blocked that out real quick, got the runs gone. You can see we got a little low spot right here, and the body line is just ever so slightly. This is, you can hardly feel that. So I think just hitting that with some 2K and blocking it once with 180, and we can fix that body line at the same time. Rather than going over, we could go over it with a glaze, you know, but I find that when you get to these minor imperfections, this is just less than a mil, and for what we're doing here, time and quick, just get it done, that's going to be more than adequate. So I do want to move that line down. We can do that with the primer because it's just a minor thing there, and that'll take care of this. And if we were to paint this just the way it is right now, 80% of people would never see it anyway. So here's what we're dealing with up here. We got a dent right here in the roof that hopefully I can't pound that out either. I may try to pull that, we'll see. But there's duct tape all over this roof. I already cleaned up this part, probably spent half an hour doing that. We're gonna move over here and get after that. I'm just using a lacquer thinner and a putty knife and just get her done. It's just putting in the time. Oh good, this is Gorilla tape. That's not even duct tape. That's even worse. Got another chunk done. I showed you a piece in the time lapse. The biggest thing is you want to be careful so that you don't score the roof and make big gouges and scratches, because then you're just making more bodywork for yourself. So the roof is in good shape except for a couple little dents, and we want to keep it that way. So it's going to be a lot of lather, rinse, and repeat. I'm not going to bother videoing all this. I'm going to be here for a couple more hours doing this, but I've got this basically done halfway. I'm going to go ahead and get this DA down and touch up these spots that need to be touched up. We'll fix this dent here. Then literally this half of the cab is almost ready for primer, other than prepping the door jamb. And that's good progress. I'm winded. That was a lot of work. Some people may say, well, why didn't you like really pour the lacquer thinner on there and just let it soak, or use something like Goo Gone? Well, you pour the lacquer thinner on there, lacquer thinner bites hard into enamel paint, and this is an enamel paint from the factory. Even though it's baked on, it's hard. It could potentially lift it. The second thing with Goo Gone is it's oily, and you don't want anything oily when you're going to be painting, so you just got to do the work. Maybe there's an easier way, but I don't know of it. Could have used a heat gun, maybe. I found in the years past, just do the work. Just you know, I'm lazy, you know that, but sometimes you just got to do the work. So I need to go over this one more time with a lacquer thinner rag, just to get some more of that glue off of there that's spread around a little bit, but it's getting there. So we'll throw a fresh disc on, well, we'll go over it with the dirty disc on the DA, then we'll throw a fresh one on it after I rub it down with a clean rag with lacquer thinner. So we'll be right back. There we go, half done. Little dent to fix there, as I said. Little teeny dent there, we'll might as well fix that while we're there. Other than that, it looks good. Got all the rust loosened up. So yeah, I think we're ready to fix those couple little spots. But my camera's dying, I gotta recharge my battery. I probably should go get some lunch as well. So we'll let this sit for now. I'll be back briefly. You won't even know I'm gone. I promise you, you won't miss me at all. So we've got that cleaned up pretty good. It probably could use one more go over, but I want to go ahead and fix these two dents right now. Then we'll get over on the other side and start tearing off that duct tape. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just kind of coming along, going around, working my way over, and we'll probably get down the back and then up the front. So hopefully we can get all that done today. Things are going pretty well, but this is a burn-on job, like I said. We're pouring the coals to it to get this done. We're obviously not going to get it all done in one episode or three, but you know, I want this to be a quick turnaround, but still give you a realistic perspective on what it takes to do a quick paint job on a vehicle like What we did was take some real rough 36 grit, that might have even been 24, and just rough that up so that we can put some mud on there and stick. Now remember, we already had mud in these places, and I'm not taking it down to, you know, taking other people's work off, because we're getting this done. But you know, these two spots here had nothing done to them. I would love to get up in there and pound that out, but it's like 4 layers, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to. So I got another way we might be able to pop that up a little bit. Let's see what I can do. Let me take a couple looks here. Hold on. Decided that I had to check myself before I wreck myself on that. Put this back in context of this truck. We're not here to do show quality work. We're just here to make it a color. And it's just a work truck. So it's less than 3/16 of an inch of hole that's there. And I just made the executive decision that I'm not going to spend an hour or two trying to pound that out. It's got a metal, there's no headliner in this, it's a metal roof inside as well, so it's not like I could reach up in there like on some vehicles and pop it out. I could weld a post on the outside. If I had a slapper, I could do that. I'm going to do the right thing and just put a little tiger hair skin in there and call it good. I know it's not the right way to do it. I get that, okay? So, calm down. But context, this is just a bang, get it out of here. I can fill this hole in 5 minutes, have it sanded down in 10, and be moving on. Otherwise, I'm spending a couple hours doing all that stuff, and I ain't messing with it. So, and I've, it's under strict instructions from the owner. Don't spend a lot of time at this. Let's just get it done. Once it tacks up pretty good, I try to go over it with some rough grit paper and just take the rough edges off, smooth it out a little bit before it dries. Just makes your sanding life a little easier. You can peel it off though. You don't want to get carried away. Just being very gentle. You can do the same thing with a cheese grater. You can see I'm peeling some of it. Now I'm going to put a coat of Bondo over that, so it's not that big a deal. But this one here, this was a little bit drier when I put it on, but I think we'll be okay. So I got some back here, so I'm just sanding that in a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to let that dry thoroughly before we sand it the rest of the way. And these are some big rocks. So we're just rough shaping it. That's all we're doing. It just saves us time later. Okay. While that's drying, we will begin the process of lather, rinse, and repeat over here on all of this and get the rest of this roof cleaned up while we can. Because that's going to need another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes over there maybe. So, oh, this has got the Gorilla Tape underneath it. So it's actually going a little quicker. The Gorilla Tape doesn't seem to, it seems to last better is what I'm saying. So that's surprising me. But this is duct tape here. This is going to be, it's not going to be any fun at all. Okay, we got a job of work to do here, so I'll be back. The roof is completely degummed over there. Everything looks good. A couple hours of work total on that. That was a bugger. The Gorilla Tape actually held up. And it was hard to pull off, but it stayed intact. That duct tape, man, it was that cheap junk duct tape, and it just disintegrated, which duct tape tends to do over time. Anyway, I had actually lost a bunch of video. I thought I was filming, and I wasn't. So I had sanded down the tiger hair here and here. Now I've got a small coat of Bondo on there. This is going to turn out just perfect. So we're going, while this is drying, we're going to go over on the other side, and we're going to DA the roof down over there and get a good handle on that. Where that black spot is there's some rust. We're probably going to have to take the grinder and grind that down a little bit. But the roof is in good shape. It's going to look nice. So good to go. Let's move over to the other side. So we have a few spots here that it's not rust. I mean, it's not a dent. It was rust from rattle can primer sitting outside, absorbed moisture. So we'll have to dress those up a little bit. I'll DA those down, those edges a little bit, but I went after it with a rough grit just to get that rust out. Another one here. So we don't have any dents on this side to fix like we did on the other side, but we do have some rust spots to fix up. So I think I'll wipe this down with Prep Sol real quick. I've DA'd it all now. I think we're decent. Let's just see what we've got, and we'll go from there. Bare metal's all touched up. We'll let that dry good. We'll probably hit it one more time. Then we'll go over that with a little, probably a little glaze, spot putty type stuff where those sand edges are. And then that should be ready to hit with some 2K at the end of the day here. We still have a lot to do, but I'm starting to run out of time. So we're making good progress though. Yeah, so let's go over and sand over there and get those in primer. Sand it down, ready to rock. We'll put some primer on it. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a minute. Yeah, there's just a little teeny feather edge in there. That'll be fine. This new can primer hasn't had a run mixed into it, but looks good. So I need to look at the clock here and make a determination on where I'm going from here. I spent a minute or three looking things over. This fender is pretty beat up right in here. We've gone so far with the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. And there was one other spot on the fender, and we've got some work to do right back up in here as well. The back of the cab I think is pretty good. We only need to worry about basically from here up. This is just tape, I believe, maybe a little rust in there, but at this point we're not thinking we're going to take the back glass out. I may change my mind, but I think there's enough work here that what I want to do is do that other side and then go ahead and spot this in with 2K tomorrow. That'll be almost a full day's work. We've been out here today for 6 or 7 hours now, but we made huge progress. This truck is probably, if we can get done everything tomorrow that I want to do, we should be ready to put the full coat of primer on this thing next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's obviously a ton of work to do, and I only get weekends right now to do this stuff. But it's coming a long ways, and I'm really happy with the way this is looking. The other thing I need to do is I want to take that cowl off and paint that off of the truck and get it prepped. But we can do that tomorrow, at least get it off of there. We also need to go around the windshield frame. Got a couple little teeny rust holes, but I want to take my wire wheel and go in there and clean all of that goop out of there and see exactly what we're dealing with. I hope that we're not dealing with a whole bunch of typical Dodge cab rust that happens up in that area. I'm just really hoping that's not on the radar here with this truck. So, but yeah, we're making good progress. It's full of body shop stuff from doing this truck right now, but that's my little welding thing that I'm working on. I got some of this cleaned up today, as I was saying in the beginning of this episode. Another couple months that snowblower will be out of here. I've got an outbuilding that's going to go in eventually, but it needs a roof, so I'm keeping it in here. But yeah, so it's a mess. It was nice and clean when it came out here, but we're working, so that's the way it goes. When you let go of perfectionism and keep things in mind in the context for what it is, things turn out nice. It's not going to be a show truck. That's not the point. We've said that before and over, but I can't emphasize that enough. If this was the Challenger, I would not be doing things this way. It's not the way I did things on the 47. It's not the way we did things on the Charger and countless other cars that I've painted. But in the context of a work truck, yes, it's going to be a big block truck. It's great, and it's going to look nice. And he was considering just painting it with a rattle can, and I said, hey, why don't you let me grab that thing and shoot it for you? So it's turning out good, and we'll move forward on it again hopefully tomorrow, which will probably be the next episode that you see after this one. I'm not sure what day these are falling on right now, but this is sometime for mid to late February. So all right, that'll do it for this one. We're over on the face thing /mycarshop. We're over on Instant Grandma. She loves us. She gives us cookies and all that stuff. So check us out over there. I've been doing a better job of trying to post content over there. Of course, we're here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell. All the stuff that we always talk about. It helps the channel grow. It helps everybody out. These may be the things that I'm doing as far as projects, but it's our projects as far as I'm concerned. You guys share in the process with me. We approach our channel a little differently than a lot of channels. We don't break things down into accomplishable projects in an episode, but rather you come and you spend the day in the shop and you get a real world picture of what it's like to work here in my car shop and in most shops when it comes right down to it. All right, that'll do it. We will catch you on the very next one, so don't go away.
Rock!